Hey guys, my name is Paige. I'm really excited to get started with public speaking with a personal story speech. Honestly, I think it's going to help us get to know each other a little better. But today I'm going to tell you a little bit on how my sports life has been a little bit of a roller coaster from freshman year to junior year. At the beginning of freshman year, I am normally in volleyball, basketball, and track. But freshman year, I ended up having to sit out of volleyball, basketball, and track. It was probably the first or second practice of volleyball, and my back was absolutely killing me. I couldn't jump, I couldn't run, I could even barely walk. It hurt so bad. So my mom made me a doctor's appointment, and we did an x-ray, and I was dead set on, Mom, they're not going to find anything. And sure enough, they came in, x-ray didn't show anything. So the doctor sent us home, and I went back to practice, and I jumped up, and I came down, and I just laid there because my back hurt so bad I couldn't get myself back up. After a few more practices of not being able to do anything, my mom said, okay, this is enough, we're taking you back. So then we ended up having to do a CT scan, and the CT scan showed that I had a pars fracture, which a pars fracture is a stress fracture that develops as a result of overextension or repetitive motions, which makes sense because 8th grade year I was a long jumper, and that had a big impact on how I landed. Mostly everyone has experienced an injury or some type of pain during a sport, but some may not be as serious as others, whereas to me the pars fracture was a pretty big setback in my life, especially because it was my freshman year, and it was probably, at that point in time, it was the most important year to prove myself because it was my first year being with those girls. So after I got my pars fracture, I went back to practice that next day, and I was very emotional because I knew I had to sit out. I ended up having to do physical therapy for about 9 months probably, and then sophomore year I ended up coming back, but I didn't do track because my dad, it wasn't even my doctor, my dad told me that I couldn't do long jump, which that was the main reason that I was in track. So I stuck with volleyball and basketball, and I didn't have as much back pain, but I mean it was still noticeable because with a pars fracture it never completely heals, it's always with you. So I did volleyball and basketball, and then with basketball, with all the running, there was a constant pain. So my junior year I actually sat out of basketball, and I only did volleyball, and the pain wasn't nearly as bad as it was freshman, even sophomore year. So then after junior year, I made a decision that for senior year, it's just volleyball. Like, that's what I'm going to stick with. So with now being a senior and halfway through my volleyball career, I rarely have any back pains, and if I do, I just rub icy hot on it and it goes away because 9 times out of 10, it's just sore. Throughout high school, sports was what I looked forward to most. Having to sit out for a year or even the second year of sophomore year when I had the pains, it felt like an eternity. Had I not sat out, who knows where I would have been now. If you guys ever suffer from a pain, I'm telling you from my experience to sit out and take the time that your body needs, because if not, you may end up like me and you have to sit out of 2 years instead of having it being not even a whole season or any of that. After listening to my story, I hope it kind of gets a better idea of who I am and what my interests are, and I cannot wait to listen to all of your guys' speeches.